Welcome to the Wizard Starter Build for Diablo 3, patch 2.6.6 and Season 18. Now this is based around the Delcir set, the DMO set. Timestamps will be in the description and hopefully the top comment if I remember, so you can skip around to whatever part you need. The best way to start off any season is to save your Challenge Rift bag. We've been using this for a couple years now. It's a really good tactic. So you don't want to do your Challenge Rift this week. And on Friday, when the season starts, make a seasonal character and then do your Challenge Rift and then claim your bag. If you need a guide on how to complete it, I'll put a link in the description. It's on my Twitch channel. We did like a live Twitch guide for it, so you can check that out if you need a little bit of help for that. On the screen here, you'll see a lot of the stuff we can get with our Challenge Rift bag. We have tons of gold, Death's Breath. We can unlock all the professions to the maximum. We can get a free Hope of Cain recipe. We can buy vendor items because of the excess gold. We can do a lot of stuff with it, right? We can cube multiple items if we have to. But we do have these level 1 Blood Shards, so that's where we're going to start. Level 1 Blood Shard spendage. I do play all the classes in Diablo, but I have more game time on Wizard, I think, than the other ones. So this was pretty easy for me. I feel like the start with DMO is buttery smooth and you wouldn't have any issues starting with absolutely no items whatsoever. We're going to go over the build later in the video, but you really don't need anything. So at this point at level 1, anything you get is just gravy. So just know whatever you decide, it's totally cool, whatever direction you decide to go with your shards. I'll cover what I would do and then you guys can make decisions based upon that. So at level 1, I would roll Poxfalds. Again, it's not needed, but I would do this to make my leveling experience easier. It's easier to do massacres. If you're in groups, you just do way more damage. A 550% damage dot is good for every class, actually, and you can get Poxfalds with every class. I would do this for Wizard. I'm making like a entropy disintegrate type of tank build, and this would work out perfectly with that build. So I would get these if you're worried at all about Wizard and you just want that extra cherry on top. If you get the pants right away, then hold the rest of your blood shards. We're going to be rolling Etch Sigils at level 33. If you look at the sources, there's only 2 available sources, right? Etch Sigil, when channeling Arcane Torrent or Disintegrate, which we're doing, or Ray of Frost, your spenders are increased by up to 150%. So like let's say you have Frozen Orb on your bar, it'll just automatically fling out Frozen Orbs or Twisters or whatever. So it's like free damage and it's empowered. So this is a super good item. It's not huge, like 500%, but it's a really good early game and it'll help snowball you throughout the content. If you get the Etch Sigil and you're like, Bludd, I still have blood shards left over, then maybe you go for Wizard Hats and you try to lock down a Swami. You can also get all the Archon stuff at this level, like the Swami and the Fazula at 33. The Swami is actually earlier at 30, but with the leftover shards, feel free to roll for them. You're not really wasting your time. It's going to go to good use. So Poxfalds at 1, Etch Sigil at 33, and then if you want to throw some shards at the Swami or at the Fazula belt, you're more than welcome to. It's only going to help you. You know, you're probably going to go into Archon at some point. Once you hit level 10, I would just go through and look for rings and amulets at all the fence vendors in every town, as they have plus damage rings and amulets. If they don't have any of those, just buy whatever. You have a lot of gold from your Challenge Rift bag. I would pick up like int gear or a cooldown or attack speed. Anything is really good at this point. Make sure to save all the little random legendaries you get while leveling, as you can extract their full legendary power in the cube at level 70. Focus on red gems while leveling in your weapon and in your helmet. In your weapon, they give you the plus damage that we were talking about. And in your helmet, they give you 33%, or they give you an experience boost. It depends on the level of the gem. So they give you a nice experience boost when you put them in the helm. And then in your gear itself, I would use Topaz, as you get damage and all resist from Topaz. Really solid. As far as what abilities to use, I would use Disintegrate, Convergence, pretty much my whole leveling process. Unless you get a complementary legendary along the way, right? I would use like Convergence, and I'd probably focus on Audacity or Power Hungry. That way you can stay back. Power Hungry, you get that really early at level 10. So Power Hungry give you a 30% damage increase when you're standing far away. Astral Presence will help keep up your arcane power. Another good one is Illusionist. So when you get hit, you have a chance to lower the cooldown of Teleport, and then when you teleport, you get a movement speed boost. That's kind of a nice combo. Illusionist is like a multi-functional passive. So those 3 are really good while leveling. But again, any legendaries you get along the way, you want to build off of it, whether it's like a Twister Sword or the Etch Sigil or anything like that. All right, when you hit level 40 or so, you want to roll a level 70 weapon at the blacksmith. Since we have the CR bag, we're able to unlock the blacksmith to its fullest potential. And you want to roll the reduced level requirement on the secondary, like you see here with the empty bash weapon. I would probably just do a wand. That way you can get a source in your offhand. But I just had this as an example. You can make whatever you want. I tried to experiment with daggers and maces and all kinds of stuff. I would just do a one-handed wand and then upgrade it at 70, or you can upgrade it now. It's up to you. You do have that free hope of Cain. It's like a shot in the dark, but yeah, it's up to you. We'll get into that later in the video. All your gear should get replaced around level 61 and above. So keep an eye out. Just tons of gear replacements, and that's probably the most you need to focus. A lot of the stuff you get from 61 to 70 is better than level 70 legendaries because they have better stats. So you're looking for like int and double crit everywhere. Those are just rock solid, give you a nice base for a character to get you started with the new season. All right, so you're level 70. Now what, Bludd? Now what do I do? If you have leftover blood shards, keep rolling sources. There's a lot of good sources in the game. And for your Hope of Cain, I would definitely go for weapons. There's a lot of good weapons you can get. Unstable Scepter gives you a crazy multiplier to Arcane Orb. Starfire buffs lightning spells. Chantoto's a big one. The new Chantoto set does insane damage, and this is used in my speed build. Wand of Woe for Explosive Blast. I have an Explosive Blast build on my build page also. Check the Patreon link for all my builds. And yeah, EB's basically back. It's super good. It's not as good as Veer's, but it's getting closer with every patch. Like with the Captain Crimson buff and all this other stuff, it's really good. So upgrade wands, and there's really no guaranteed items you can get. So you might as well get something that'll really change your early season. Getting that Chantoto wand early or something like that. You can always run to Act 5, kill Malthael, get your Reaper's Wraps. You will be spending a lot of resource, especially with Frozen Orb if you decide to go that route, or if you're using some kind of Disintegrate build that does burn resource. It does help a little bit. You might as well show up for the Malthael kill. You have to do bounties anyway. The first legendary gem you get every season is a Bane of the Powerful, so that's a valid option. You want to just do a level 1 GR if possible, just to get a 20% damage bonus, and it'll stay with you until you replace them later on. All right, let's talk about the Wizard starter build. So you're going to craft a full set of gear, or you're going to min-max everything when you hit 70 just to make yourself more efficient. Make sure you have like a lot of double crit items that we talked about, and just kind of comb through everything and make sure you have the most updated versions of the items that you can make. What we're going to do is we're going to craft sources to pair with our wand, right? You're probably going to upgrade your wand, but if not, it doesn't matter. We're not going to test with the legendary wand here. You're going to craft a source, and you're going to look for crit and arcane power on crit, and that's going to help sustain our resource. It's really easy when you're rolling sources to get that. The only two things we need is crit and arcane power on crit, and then intelligence would be a strong third. If you can get all three, that's preferred. And then for helms, you want to get arcane power on crit, and then same thing, crit and intelligence if possible. These two things will help keep your resource up, in addition to other things we have here like astral presence and stuff like that. We're going to do a full gameplay demonstration with the 4-piece here. Again, it's the same gameplay with the 4-piece DMO and the starter build. Your main gameplay with the build is to keep up your buffs here. Force, armor, deflection is going to give us a shield. So all you really do is drop your bubble and then DPS like that. And you're going to constantly do damage. What this entropy does is it ramps up and it gets you up to 1100% weapon damage as arcane. Right, so you just drop the bubble to protect yourself, and then you start DPSing. And you're going to truck through this season journey until you get your 4-piece. And then when you get your 4-piece, it'll look like something like this. Again, I'm not using the pox folds that we talked about, but if you had them, you would be doing way more damage than I'm about to do. So I'm about to do the GR20 clear soon. I'm just going to talk about the DMO set for you guys. So the 2-piece, when you cast Arcane Orb, Energy Twister, or any of these other things, it reduces the cooldown of slow time. So this is slow times on our bar. And there's a lot of cool runes you can use with slow time. The 4-piece, you take 60% reduced damage while you have a slow time active. So you don't have to actually be in the bubble to get your damage reduction. 60% is a lot. That's more than just about every other class set in the game. Most classes don't have a 60% damage reduction on their set, right? So it just has to be active somewhere, and then you can run around and do stuff. When you get the 6-piece, the enemies have to be in the bubble. Otherwise it won't count, right? So if the bubble's here, you have your damage reduction, but you don't do your bonus damage unless they're in the bubble with you like this. So that's why entropy is good, because it covers the whole bubble basically. So this is like a perfect thing for that. We're using safe passage, so we're getting damage reduction. If I start to take a little bit of damage, I might pop save time to get that little 25%. And then you want to keep up the bubble. Again, that's tied to your damage reduction. And I do have Archon for the elite. So I save Archon for big packs and definitely the Rift Guardian. This is like your big whammy. If you hold the beam down, you can kind of line up elite kills here. But if it's a single target fight, I'll probably just slam and push Q or the Arcane Blast skill. So hold down left click and push Q is your main DPS ability, and then use the beam if it's like a multi-target you're trying to kill, or like a blue pack, right? There's a bunch of them. No Paragon, not one drop of Paragon in the video, no legendary gems, only baseline marquee gems, nothing in the cube, just literally the 4-piece DMO, and we took a little bit of time to make sure we had arcane power on our helm and our source. Let's go do the GR20 clear. So not the best rift here, but we want to keep up our buffs. I'll probably drop slow time immediately just to get that damage reduction as I scout through the rift. Okay, I found a nice elite here. I'll just drop my bubble. I might drop Archon. I actually don't want to get any kills with Archon right away. I'm going to probably jump on top of him, drop the bubble, hold down entropy. Hopefully we don't die here. Again, you have your Archon as your what's it called? Your get out of jail free card, or your trump card. Yeah, your trump card. I'm going to sit here and cast on this elite. I think he's really tough. Keep up your bubble for sure. I really want to pop Archon, but I'm going to kill him with Disintegrate. We're already kind of even, and then once we get this, we have to kill. Good. Yeah, so look how much we pulled ahead already just from the first kill using entropy and no Archon. Whenever I get in trouble, I just want to pop it. You know, it's like my big cooldown here. So keep up slow time while we're traveling. And we have another insane pack up here. So if we kill this build's legit, because this is kind of scary. I'm just gonna run around, wait for my bubble to come back, pop the bubble, and start casting Disintegrate. I might teleport to keep up safe passage. This is really crazy. This is definitely an Archon moment, but I want to get this kill without it. I'm gonna jump behind them with teleport. I'm gonna have to tank this one hit. I have no potion. Recast that. I'm gonna run around. I do not want to die. Okay, as long as we have safe passage, we should be good. Again, we got that 60% damage reduction, which I don't think any other class has. I'm gonna recast my bubble, and I'm getting smacked around here, and I'm gonna teleport just in time. And boom, we got 2 savage kills, again, with literally nothing. No main stat, and it's just like absolute bottom barrel, right? So let's go ahead and look for some more things to kill. It's really just entropy is so strong, and Wizard has some nice passives and abilities that work nice together. Audacity gives us that big bonus. If you want to kill density for a second, you can. You want to take a breather, you can sit here and just kind of shred. If you're new to Wizard, or you're a little apprehensive, I would strongly encourage you to roll Oxfalds at level 1. Just because, you know, it's such a good item and you'd be doing a 550% dot. I originally designed the build around having to roll Poxfalds, and then I was like, wait, we're actually killing without it. So I decided against it, and we're going to pop Archon here to show you some Archon destruction. So you want to ground and pound. You can also use the beam if you want. And that was good, man. That was real good. We like some Archon goodness. And make sure you're attacking while you're moving. That way you're getting more efficiency, you know, out of your Rift. The Rift Guardian's really easy. Just save Archon for that. I have done it without Archon. It's just a little bit slower. It's actually not that weak. It's just a little bit weaker. So another Jug, another crazy mob type. So you get it, right? The build's good. It's powerful. It's somewhat tanky. If you have Ashnagars while leveling, Ashnagars, and you double your shields, they give your shields 100% increase. That would be really good with this build as well. So keep an eye out for those. When you get the 6-piece set, congratulations, you did your GR20 clear. We do 8,500% damage when they're affected by slow time, remember that. And it lists all the abilities that you get, that it buffs, right? It buffs Arcane Orb, Energy Twister, Explosive Blast, Magic Missile, Shock Pulse. So there's like a generator belt that allows you to attack really fast. There's weapons that buff Arcane Orb. There's a Twister Sword. There's an EB Wand. Pretty much anything you get while leveling, you can definitely pair it with a 6-piece set. Just read the description, it tells you what's available. So if you have nothing, that's what we're planning around, is having nothing. So I'm using the Serpent Sparker. It doesn't affect testing. Goldskin, Ring of Royal Grandeur doesn't affect it. We can't use a 7-piece set or anything like that. What we're doing now, we went from a very close tank and spank build. Now we're like a range build. So we still have a lot of focus on arcane replenishment with APOC and our passives. But now we're using Power Hungry instead of Audacity, so we're going to be 30 yards away, and we're going to be spamming Arcane Orb and Magic Missile hits pretty hard. Let's go to like a T7 equivalent. This build's pretty good. Let's just do like let's showcase a GR40. Okay, so this is obviously way too high. You'd be farming on T7. Just to show you the power of the build, pop your buffs, pop slow time. Oh my god, Ghost, of course. And Frozen Orb, man. Yeah, it's a 950% ball of death. And you can see, even with nothing, you instantly jump. A lot of people are telling me that DMO is a really bad start and all this stuff, and it is kind of slower than a lot of other classes, but it has definitely some bright spots. Look at even the generator we're killing with. Even just casting our signature spell. So if you had that belt, I think it's the Shema Del Seer that increases your attack speed. Like we're killing with not even Frozen Orb. And then we throw Frozen Orb, it's just the big damage boost. One thing about Frozen Orb, it travels and then it pops at the end. You want to try to get it on that pop. It does like a little explosion of damage there. That's really good. And some bad maps today. But you can see that you obviously have the power to survive or to do damage to even mobs way higher than what you probably should be doing right away. But typically I take this build, which we have set up here, and I would farm on T7 until you had a full Veers set, or you had like some kind of Tal Rasha Frozen Orb, or like an EB set. Like I would definitely just use this until you're ready to move on, right? Or you get some other item to push you higher. You can see it's pretty chillax with Frozen Orb, right? Always reminds me of D2 when I play Frozen Orb, makes me happy. As a Barb and a Sork main, I guess, in Diablo 2, so a little bit of a throwback. Throw the orbs here. Drop some of the enemies, and it's just cake. And what would help you here as well would be like an Unstable Scepter or Triumvirate offhand. So definitely use your extra blood shards and roll for sources. It'll help you out a lot. If I had an Edge Sigil, I probably would have stuck to, like, let's say the Disintegrate Convergence maybe. And then I would have just put a Arcane Orb, Frozen Orb on my bar. And then when you have Edge Sigil, let's kind of show it here. You can get it at 70, or if you had it in the cube, all you do is hold down and it shoots it out. So you get just fling, fling, fling. So it's just 950, 950, 950. Right? So it'd be the same concept if you had Edge Sigil. You just drop the bubble and do it. If I had a Twister Sword, all I would do is change the Spender to like Energy Twister. There's a lot of good ones here. I'd probably do Raging Storm, because when they combine, they do 3200% damage. And then it's just Twister, Twister, Twister. And then maybe I would probably drop the Helm to a Topaz. If you use a Topaz, you get reduced resource cost, and I'd focus more on that. But APOC is really good. A lot of crit, a lot of reduced cost resource. You just drop the bubble, and then you just crush it. There's even like a nice pair of bracers called Rancer's Folly that groups them up. So it pulls them in, groups them up real nicely, and does bonus damage. So just build off whatever you get. Pay attention to everything. You should be fine. For endgame recommendations, I'd probably focus on Frozen Orb, probably for bounties. You can also use Veers, but here's like a Frozen Orb mockup. I'm going to update this tonight, so you'll probably see a little different variation here with Squirt's Necklace or something. But yeah, this is like what a mockup looks like for like a Lawn Frozen Orb. So definitely check the description for that. I'll probably do a video on it again. But yeah, this is a versatile build. It's not relying on the Ingeom or cooldown. You just kind of port around, throw Frozen Orbs. So if you like what you saw earlier with the cold orbs, then this is the build for you. This looks like it's going to be the push build for Veers for the current season, season 18. And I have a speed variation in the description. So those are your two big bangers for speeds, is Veers and Lawn Frozen Orb. You can also play EB. I'll put an EB in the description for you guys as well. But you probably want to push on Veers. It's not so crazy to play at a high level. It is hard to master, but you can probably push to a 120 with minimal effort. If you see anything wonky in the cube, just scroll down. It says Cube Squirts or Corinne for tankier or a hardcore version, and use Storm Armor. So just always check the description if you see like it looks incomplete. It's just Diablo Fans hasn't updated it. But you know, I updated it in the description, and we have all the stat priorities for everything. You can also play a Tal Rasha Meteor Shower. So I'll try to just make the description jam-packed full of stuff, or you can check the tier list. If there's something that you want to push with that you don't hear about, just check the tier list in the description. It has all the builds ranked, and then it has links to all the builds in the description of that video. Final thoughts on Wizard. It's a beast of a class. It's my favorite class in Diablo. I do like all the classes, but if I had to pick one, it would be the Wizard, baby. The Veer's speed runs are very close to rat runs, so they're almost the speed meta. It's getting closer and closer, especially when they lost their lawn bonus. But I would still say like lawn singularity is going to be the fastest speed farming meta. Veer's is pretty close, man. You're used in the push build. Again, you have those severe speed comps we talked about. It's really good for farming bounties, really good for farming rifts. It's pretty solid overall. You can even play Z-Wizard with certain setups. All those builds will be on my !build page, or I guess you can check the Patreon link in the description. They're free for everybody, man. This is it. We're done with the starter survival guides for the season. I hope you guys liked them. I hope you enjoyed the format. Next season, I have ideas to make them better and better and better. So I really like the survival guides. They're kind of like my baby. I started doing them years ago, and hopefully you guys get value out of them. It's something that I always want to do because it just makes me happy to make something that people enjoy. I always say like a chef, you know, people are like, yo, Bludd, how come you don't do this with your build or do that with your build? And I'm always like, I'm just like a chef, man. Like, I like to use this much salt. And if you like to use sugar, that's cool. This is just what I do. If you guys like it, that's cool, you know? Shout out to all the patrons supporting the content, allow me to make these videos and stream full-time on Twitch. You can follow me at twitch.tv/bloodshed. I have a podcast. You can follow the podcast, it's in the description, the Bloodheart Podcast on all major platforms. I do plan on releasing videos post-launch for the season. We only had a week on the PTR, so we didn't have a lot of time to dissect it. So now that it's out, the patch is out, I've been just all day just back to grinding, making build videos and all that stuff. So thank you so much for watching. This is the Bloodshed, and I'm out of here. Peace.